no one will be expecting a lady officer in a scooty raiding a particular spot.
This is the other side of the story which we
Yes.
never thought of.
Had we not taken a stand that we have to do it, then obviously, probably they wouldn't have been brought back.
Hello and welcome back to the Blue Bindi podcast, where we talk about finance, womanhood and everything in between. Today we are joined by someone truly inspiring, a trailblazer who's carved her space in a field traditionally dominated by men. And she continues to lead with strength, integrity and conviction. I'm here with DCP Ragasudha IPS. She's currently serving as Deputy Commissioner of Police Zone 4 Mumbai. From a small town in Tamil Nadu to the front lines of law enforcement in Mumbai, her journey is defined by resilience and unwavering self-belief. Ma'am, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So let's get started. I would want to start from where it all began. What inspired you to get into civil service, especially getting into IPS, and what was that one moment that you realized, okay, this is the journey, this is the path I'm going to take for myself?
I'm a small town girl, and I didn't have much exposure till my 6th standard. I'm like any other normal girl till 6th standard, because with no exposure to what administration is, how the district administration is being done. So when I was studying 6th standard, there was this additional collector who has just taken charge. I think it was her first posting. Her name is Amuda IAS.
Okay.
Presently, she is in the rank of secretary in Tamil Nadu government.
Wow.
And my father is a civil engineer, so he used to work in the district administration. So somehow during a prize distribution ceremony, I met her. I got inspired. Her confidence level was very high, and seeing her the very same day, I decided that I should become like her.
Okay.
I don't know what is civil service, I don't know what is UPSC, I never knew what is IAS or IPS, but just seeing her, I decided I should be like her.
Wow.
So then when I started asking my dad, who is she and how she has reached this position, then slowly I got exposed to what district administration is. My father, he regularly reads newspaper. So that naturally that habit came to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So with all this combination, I decided that I will get into UPSC when I got to know what is UPSC and civil services.
Okay.
And I took up many leadership role in my school and colleges. During that time, my school and my college actually groomed my skill. So that is how my exposure to this UPSC and civil service came up.
So perfect, having a role model, this is what I want to be, and I'll figure my path. Because obviously the way you're saying 6th standard, you are so naive, and right now kids are exposed to a lot of things. Back then you're not even exposed what's happening.
Yes.
But then having a role model and then getting into that habit with your dad. So as you were talking about the UPSC journey, I think I've heard it's one of the most difficult, phase of an aspirant's life while preparing for UPSC. So what was your journey like?
Okay.
Take us through that part and what kept you going, because it's not an easy task. So you need to prepare yourself. So how did you prepare?
So everyone dreams. I also dreamt, with no knowledge of what UPSC is, how to prepare for UPSC exam, with no one behind my back or to guide me. So with the zero knowledge, I reached Delhi, immediately after my graduation. So I reached Delhi, and then I started preparing on my own. Obviously, I took help of coaching classes. And then I got to know that UPSC is this, and there will be multiple failures you have to face, because I'm just a graduate who has just graduated out of college.
Correct.
And then you're exposed to life's hardships. Suddenly you're staying alone in Delhi, where language is a problem, and so far you are in a protected environment with your family, and then suddenly you're alone managing your house,
left by yourself,
everything,
all by yourself.
So somehow the first attempt didn't go through, and yes, obviously I felt very sad, depressed, because the school and colleges I was a topper. It was the first failure and the first reality in my life. So obviously my friends, my parents stood by me, and then I prepared again. This time all by myself, learning from the mistakes which I made in the first attempt. And second attempt, I cleared till mains. UPSC has 3 phases: prelims, mains, and interview stage. So prelims is basically your objective type questions. Mains is your subjective type questions, and ultimately interview. So this time I cleared till my mains. But somehow with I think 3 marks I couldn't cleared the
Interview.
mains stage,
Okay.
interview stage,
Okay.
reach interview stage.
Okay.
So then again I prepared. So this time I was so fortunate and lucky that I cleared forest service examination also. UPSC also conduct forest service examination.
Okay.
So forest service examination I scored All India rank 27.
Wow.
So the same year I cleared IPS.
Oh,
So throughout the journey, three things were so important. People say like you have to read for 16 hours, 17 hours. But I would like to say that consistency is more
Is the key.
important because hard work is there definitely, but then consistency is more important, and support and strength given by your family and friends, because throughout the day you are studying and you're getting these thoughts that you're failing at every stage. It is not easy.
Should you continue, keep, doubting yourself? And the way you said,
Yes.
in school and college, when you knew that I
Yeah.
was the topper, so you always have that confidence that I can do it.
Yes.
And then when you get that reality check,
Yes.
you're like, okay,
Yes.
what just happened?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So consistently working hard,
Yes, yes.
that is something can get you through,
Yes.
and obviously your support,
Yes.
family and friends. So in police force, traditionally and by now also, it's all male dominated, and specifically when you move to the senior levels. So how is it with you on duty? What is it? How is the experience? And overall, when after obviously clearing UPSC, being heard, owning this position right now, how is the journey now?
As I told you, like my father is a civil engineer working with district administration. We had no one from police department in our family, nor in our extended family. So I am the first one to don the uniform.
Wow.
So when I came into the service, the very first thing we get to do is our training. The change starts from there only, because there is no distinguish between the male officer and the lady officer.
Okay.
Everyone is an officer over there,
Equally treated.
equally treated. National Police Academy. So all the events, like you are divided into squads, and you do everything with your squad, and there is no separate lady squad. Like every squad has a 2 or 3 ladies. So the change starts from there. So once you are out of the academy, now you know that there is no difference between a male officer and a lady officer. It is you as an officer on the field. So now when you come to the reality, when you come and take charge, fortunately Maharashtra is a very progressive state where I didn't find any difference, like no one treating us differently. But then again, it is up to an individual officer. So how you earn the respect of your force, be it a male officer, be it a female officer, or you earn your respect from your
100%.
juniors.
Yes.
So when I took charge, I was like a probationer in Satara district. So we used to go on many raids. So raids we used to do it in midnight also. It is an added advantage, maybe you can say, because no one will be expecting a lady officer in a scooty raiding a particular spot.
Obviously.
So it added to my advantage, in fact. And even apart from all the civil forces, I was even the commandant of armed battalion in Jalna. So there also I couldn't see any difference. Like I mean, the entire force is male force. There is no ladies in armed battalion. I was the commandant, and the respect which they gave was immense. And everywhere I go, like there is no distinguish. Like I used to say to my people that even at midnight, if something happens, you give me a call. Don't hesitate that I'm a lady officer. So they do call like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and I do respond. I even visit spots sometimes. So touchwood, I would like to say that since Maharashtra is a very progressive state and people see the lady officers, in fact lady officers have more advantage. People think lady officer to be more sensitive. So empathetic way also the lady officer has more advantage.
So as a gender only, they know ki so this is the code.
Yes.
So and then as you rightly said, for your team to look up to you, it's the work that you do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's what that they see, okay, if she can do it, she's managing, be it male, female. It gets you that respect. For Blue Bindi, as I mentioned earlier also, for us, we talk about financial independence, that it is equally or even more important than just earning. Okay, so from your perspective, and the ground reality would be very different from the lens that you would be seeing it with. So how do you think, how much importance does that hold for ladies today, and not just today, I mean obviously since decades, but right now in today's time, what do you think it is really important for a woman to be financially independent so that later if there is anything, there is no hesitation or fear, oh I cannot do this. So how important it is?
Yes. So traditionally, if we see, like in Indian culture, the ladies are the one who are managing the house, all the household expenses. They run excellently the household. So now, when we speak about the opportunities which the ladies right now are having in this modern society, huge opportunities. So when we see the ability of the lady in managing the house financially is excellently high. So I think the ladies, when they earn so much money, when they become independent, their confidence level increases, morality increases, and if they can manage their household well, obviously they can manage anything and anywhere well, like in the society. So but there is also a saying that when the women in the village develop, the entire village develops. So it is just that the internal inhibition that we should not, we should not come out and work, or we should be dependent on someone. If this inhibition in women is gone, then the along with women, the entire society develops.
Yeah, I think women also have to take that charge.
Yes.
Come out, be open, and I think obviously we're not in that world anymore.
Yes.
All of us here and the journeys that we've seen for you, for us, for a lot of ladies around. So I think obviously it's the courage and have that confidence that बाकी सब manage कर रहे हो, ये तो कर ही सकते हो. So the way we were talking about how your life is, like a day in your life. So there'll be a lot of that exposure to sensitive cases, to a lot of different situations. How do you deal with that? How do you maintain that balance that, okay, work, stop here once I'm back home, there's a disconnect there. I need to switch it off, not a disconnect, but I need to switch that off and be home. So how do you balance that?
Basically, what has happened is with the increase in, all the social media, thanks to WhatsApp and everything, complete switching off doesn't happen always. And police department is something like 24 hours we have to be on alert. But then when we do work in our office, and then when we get back home, because we do have a family over there, today this work we look into, after 1 year probably we will not be there continuing in that post, but my family is always there looking up to me. Make sure that for an hour or 2 hours you spend with your family without touching the phones, but then it is not possible obviously as we are in a very beginning of our career. But I think as we grow, the responsibility grows up. As we get into that second priority stage, then obviously I think we can completely cut off, and then we can supervise what is happening on the ground. But in police force, to be frank, we definitely can't cut off like just I entered my home, so it doesn't happen anytime.
So it cannot be just laptop shut. That is never the case.
No.
So a soldier is always on duty.
Yes.
So any example or any moment that you've experienced in your career that you would want to talk about, that stayed with you and that has made what you are today?
So there are many instances, but I would like to mention two cases which is very close to my heart. I was district SP of Parbhani district. So what has happened is, I think I took charge in October 2022. So the same year in January and February 2022, there were kids continuously getting kidnapped, like below 8 years. And December 2021, January and February, like 3 months, 3 kids got kidnapped. They were never rescued. So when we take charge, many people come to wish us. So during one of that visit, because I was not aware of this, so during one of that visit, the visitor told me that such case is there and it is undetected. So I started digging into the case, and I found that there is some connection between all the 3 cases. So somehow we worked on it. So this is like November 2022 when I started taking review. Bang on in March, we rescued all the 3 kids.
Wow!
So that is from 600 kilometers away from Parbhani district. They were properly kidnapped, sold to a few people over there in Andhra Pradesh. and it was a fantastic rescue. And the moment we gave back the kids to the parents, it was so fulfilling experience. So this experience cannot be matched.
I can't even imagine, and the way you said it,
Yeah.
it was like, oh my god, what this? And but I can imagine the state of the parents.
Yes.
I mean, oh my God.
I feel even more overwhelmed with this experience because the parents were from a very poor family. And had we not taken a stand that we have to do it, then obviously, probably
Nobody would
they
have.
wouldn't have been brought back, because no one would have imagined that these kids would have been there.
Reached there.
Yeah, so somehow we did that. That is one of the experience which will stay with me forever. The second experience which I would like to say is that I was an armed battalion commandant. So some gang rape case happened somewhere. So I was deputed by the DG office to be the SIT head over there. So I went there and I found that the lady was 40 years old and she was gang raped by two people. So we worked on that case and then we nabbed the two accused, and we charge sheeted the case. These two experience because we read in newspapers, like everyone read in newspapers. For a common man, gang rape, but for a police officer, only the police officer understands what it takes to speak with that victim.
Completely.
Yeah, so these two experiences will stay with me forever because these are one of the defining moments in my career. And obviously, the third thing which I would like to say is the bandobast which I did in Lal Bagh. Lal Bagh Ganpati is considered to be one of the biggest Ganpati
Yes.
in Mumbai.
Yeah.
And being the in charge of this zone which comes under me, so 10 days this Ganpati bandobast, this is one of the biggest bandobast which I would have done. Right from the beginning of my career, this is one of the toughest and the biggest bandobast which would have done. The experience which we have learned through the 10 days, it is
Equivalent to
really
years of experience,
yes,
right?
yes. We got experience, feedback from many people. Especially in Lal Bagh, because there are multiple entries to Lal Bagh,
Yeah.
which is very highly not controllable.
Yes.
So this time we tried to reduce that also.
Okay.
So in every way, in every point,
All the touch points were
every
taken
touch
care.
points,
I think
yes.
the planning that you said 2 months, we don't even think, acha, aa rahe hai Ganpati. You
Yes.
start to see,
Yes.
from the time you get,
Yes.
kyunki the murti is coming.
People who visits Lal Bagh, they just see police for just 5 minutes or so, but no one thinks, because if police is saying please move, it means that we know that, there is always this iota of doubt that why police is saying move, this is not their work. But then we are there for security of common people, not for anyone else. And when we do it, it is just for their own safety
their
and security,
safety,
because the lane is so narrow
yeah.
that anytime anything can happen if we are not alert. So for a normal amaldar or an officer, there is a particular time. Standing at a particular point doing their work for a continuous 12 hours is not so easy. And that too, repeating it for 10 days, it is definitely not easy.
I truly get your point, because a lot of media hosts come in, or even as an individual, as a devotee, even if I go, if I am like asked to move, like, okay, abhi to main aayi hu, let me just do that, let me pray a little more. But what you just shared, obviously that person is taking care of me only, and the crowd needs to manage everybody there. So
because if I am saying something here, it means that I have an information that something is cropping up at the last point.
Yes.
So I have to manage this crowd.
The flow.
So only if the flow is continuous, then I can, if you took 2 hours to reach the deity, then the person who is at the last, I try that so that he can reach at around 1.5 hours. So this is our goal. But many times people, take it advice. Yeah.
That this is the other side of the story which we never thought of, and you sharing that actually gave us that perspective that next time if somebody tells me, I'm going to say sure, and I'll move. So one advice, one message that you would want to give to all our listeners out there.
So I would like to say, as a lady, fine, we accept that physiologically we are different from men, but mental ability wise, we are on the equal platform. So there are a lot of opportunities available to ladies out there. So we should come out confidently and explore the opportunities and work so hard that you're seeing the confidence in you. Your child, your children who is looking up to you will work even more harder. So together as members of the society, we can bring our society forward only and only when you are confident, you are working hard, and you think that you can reach, you can cross any hurdle without any difficulty if you are confident.
The way you started saying, the role model that you had, met her, you saw her during that prize distribution. I'm pretty sure you will be a role model for a lot of ladies listening out there. Just one more thing I would want you to add, a tip or anything for the ones who are preparing for, civil services, anything you want to tell them.
So I told you earlier, it is a consistent hard work, and discipline is very much important. It's like, if you are on a diet and you take a cheat day, fine, but the cheat day cannot be for 4 or 5 days.
Correct.
Then there is no meaning of diet. So it is like that. You have to be disciplined, you have to do hard work, there is no other going back, but you do intelligent hard work and you do it consistently.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was so interesting to listen to the stories. Looking forward, hoping for a better, safer Mumbai and Maharashtra for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Today's conversation is a powerful reminder that confidence and success aren't built overnight. They are shaped through discipline, resilience, and the courage to take ownership of your life. Until next time, keep listening to the Blue Bindi podcast, where we empower women to build strong and independent futures. Thank you.